Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome to F1 2020 for my first ever social race around Netherlands, Zandvoort. So, this is my first F1 social race in totality. I'm doing this social race for a league called RRL, which I would hopefully be racing for in the future. So, keep an eye out for those videos as well. But today we're just doing a small lobby social race, just sort of pre-season to get up and running and see how things go. But yeah, coming up to my first flying lap around Zandvoort, I have my own custom setup, and yeah, to be fair, I did some practice before coming into this session, so I was hopeful of being fast in qualifying and also throughout the race. But yeah, my main concern was to sort of perform well and just sort of prove myself out there, and also because in my past sort of unranked races with these lads, I sort of have crashed into a lot of them. So my also other objective was to sort of have a clean race, because this is my first big race. I just wanted to make sure that it's clean and I don't ruin mine or anyone else's race in Zandvoort. But we come around for this first flying lap. We do a 1 minute 10.6, which is decent. It's not anywhere close to what I can do, but I think it's almost instantly taken away by Freeman, who is running in a Ferrari. So he does a 1 minute 10.3 and we are on 1 minute 10.6. So there are around 3 more 10s to be found, and I was hopeful that I can find them in this next lap. Coming up to our second flying lap, and we get a decent exit out of turn 1. We're already 2.5 tenths up in the span of first 5 corners itself, and coming out of that roller coaster like catapult of a corner, and we are 2 tenths up on our previous time, so this hopefully should be a better lap. Coming up into the swooping right hander, we don't get the best of turn-ins or the turn as a whole, but we hit a decent apex point on this corner, and we come around to do a 1 minute 10.4. So far from ideal, but I think I was happy to see this improvement, as you know, the track sort of gained a little speed as well, and we were also gaining a tenth or two here and there. So I knew that I had a high or low, a mid 1 minute 9 in me. I just needed to hook a good lap together, and maybe hopefully, let's see, I can get that lap out of me. But yeah, at this point I was sort of not happy with myself, and I wanted to go for back-to-back flying laps. And yeah, this thing I found really sort of useful when you race against real people, is that you have to have real control of your mind, and yeah, if you let it overpower you, you sort of will make mistakes out of every corner. And yeah, as you can see, I was being very hard on myself, and I wanted to get that time. It was sort of irritating, so to speak, because I knew I had the time in me, but I was just not being able to hook the lap together. And yeah, this led to me spinning out of that long and very fast right turn. So I waited till the very end of the session, and I knew that I only had this one final flying lap with me. So let me take you around for a lap of the Zandvoort circuit. First turn break just before the 50-meter. You can go in deep because it is sort of a banked corner. So hitting the apex this time and into this downhill and then uphill roller coaster like corner, third gear for exit, sort of minimizing wheel spin in the process, and now coming up into this left, right, and then right section. Very important to get a decent turn in at this corner, because there's so much time to be had if you just get the right line into this corner. But then hitting this apex again, and as you can see, the braking boards, well, somebody took them off, so I did not have my braking reference points. But yeah, I shouldn't have hit that curve really. I think I lost a tenth or two. Very easy to spin if you hit those curves, but I managed to keep it in one piece, and we set a purple first and second sector. But IRC Satvik, I think it is, yeah, he said a 1 minute 9.7. So I was really sort of under pressure at this moment, because I knew that I had to get a perfect lap out of the in this last sector itself to have any real starting from pole position. But we managed to get a 1 minute 9.6. So in my first social race, I would be starting from pole position, and this was a real relief, to be honest. I mean, I really wanted to have a good sort of get away from the grid, and starting from pole position would really sort of help me get a good launch into turn one, and hopefully, just hopefully, we don't have any incidents with anybody else. And I knew I had that confidence in myself if I got a decent start, and if there were not too many people with me in the first corner itself, or if I did not have to fight too many people. If I got into the rhythm of doing these laps, I would pretty much be able to turn in good laps after good laps. So yeah, at the start of the formation lap, again laying in a lot of rubber. I'm not sure if that works on this game, but yeah, I thought for good measure, let's do that as well. So yeah, spinning the wheels at the starting grid to sort of lay down some rubber, and yeah, we come to the starting position for the start of this race. So at this point, I really just wanted to have a clean race altogether, and yeah, I really just hoped that there were no incidents in this race for me. But 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go in first gear. Lean mix to sort of minimize the wheel spin, and then almost instantly shifting into second, and then further up the gears, rich and overtake mode available, and we are making good use of it. Coming up into the first corner, out of first corner, we have a decent run out of the first corner itself. So far so good, no incidents at all. And then coming up into this downhill and then uphill section, we have around a second of a gap from two free men behind us, and yeah, you can just sort of see I'm not pushing the car nearly as much as I did in quali, because I was so sort of wary of doing something erratic out of pressure, or in this pressure situation, because I knew that I had to be consistent, and I knew for a fact that I had the pace in myself, but I think consistency was pretty much the only hassle in my way. But yeah, again, so far so good. Coming up towards the end of this very first lap, and yeah, just trying to keep it in one, going into first momentarily to generate the turn in. But yeah, coming up towards the end of this very first lap, rich mix and overtake reduce the risk of getting overtaken on the main straight itself. But as we see behind us, Freeman spins, so we pretty much complete this first lap in first position, and our main contender has spun out of this last corner of the very first lap itself. And this was, I shouldn't say, but I was really relieved to sort of take notice of that I was way in front of anybody behind me, and now I could sort of slowly and gradually start to stretch my legs in this race. So as you can see on the second lap itself, just trying to hit the apex, hit each and every apex possible, and just trying to maintain a clean lap as we go a little off the apex there, but I think it's still fine. And now coming up to this long left-hander, and you know, this, I think this is a pretty tricky section, to be honest. You know, you really have to know your braking and your throttle points. But yeah, we set a green middle sector and a purple first sector, so I knew that I had the pace with which I needed to sort of do a good to complete a good lap around Zandvoort. But yeah, on the second lap of the race itself, we come around out of the last corner, and we have a decent gap behind us. So we do a 1 minute 13.7, and it was, I think, now that I really sort of got into a rhythm of doing good laps. So into the first corner, second gear for turn in, and then fourth for exit. But now coming up towards the end of lap 3, and we do a 1 minute 13.5. So fast lap after a fast lap, and we've done a 1 minute 13.5, and then coming up at the end of lap 4, we do a 1 minute 13.45. So yeah, 1/10 up from on our best time, and I think yeah, it was now that I really sort of got into a rhythm. So 1 minute 13.8 on lap 6, I think, on lap at the end of lap 5, and I think yeah, if all I was targeting now was that I had to stay in around the 1 minute 14s. As you see, we have an 8-second gap behind us. So in the first 6 laps itself, we've pulled out a gap of 8 seconds behind us. So I knew that I had the pace around Zandvoort on these dry tires as we do a 1 minute 13.7. I was very, very happy with these lap times. And on lap 7, I think my entire objective from here on in was to just sort of keep a clean race and just sort of get into the rhythm, not trying anything too extreme as we get a little loosey-goosey with the back end out of turn 1. But yeah, at this point, you know, just trying to keep a clean race was all that was sort of important to me. And just for reference, that small mistake out of turn one just cost us around a second of lap time. So you can really see how small the margins are on this track itself. So one small mistake will pretty much take away a second or so from your lap time. But up until now, I think I was happy with the pace I had. As you can see, we have pulled around 9.9 and a half seconds on the guys behind us. So I think, yeah, I think my pace was decent up until now. And yeah, my entire focus now was to sort of keep the race as clean as possible. Again, as you can see on lap 9, just trying to hit every apex possible, and yeah, just trying to keep it clean and within the white lines. And yeah, coming towards the end of lap, and we do a 1 minute 13.9. Again, this was inside my 1 minute 14 limit, so I was pretty happy with the lap times I was doing. And as you can see, we've pulled around 33 seconds towards the end of lap 11, and we were supposed to stop on lap 12. So yeah, I think 33 seconds, I was pretty happy with that gap. And at this moment, I think the possibility of a Grand Slam really sort of started to play in my mind, because I knew I had a sizable gap behind me, and I can pretty much complete an entire pit stop and then still manage to come up in front of the people behind me. So at this point, I really was sort of trying to go for a Grand Slam, and the things you need for a Grand Slam is a pole position start, which we had. And we had to lead every lap, which I was in the process of doing, and also the fastest lap of the race. So coming out of this turn on lap 15, we see that Freeman has done a 1 minute 13.1, and I almost instantly sort of switched gears in my driving. So I knew that, because these tires are relatively fresh right now, I knew that I had the best chance right now to set a fastest lap of the race and sort of keep my hopes for the Grand Slam alive. And yeah, coming up into this third sector now, just doing nothing too extraordinary, just trying to keep it within the white lines and hit every apex possible. And coming up into this third sector, we're not faster in the second sector, but it's only 5/100ths, so I was still hopeful of doing a good lap out of this last corner. So coming up to the start finish straight through this beautiful banked corner, and yeah, rich mix and overtake mode being used, and we do a 1 minute 13.0. So yeah, I switched gears almost instantly to sort of eliminate the risk of getting this Grand Slam away from us. And yeah, I'm sort of glad that it worked out. But yeah, on lap 19 again, we've had decent first and second sectors, but yeah, we're just about a tenth off on a final time. But I think, yeah, I was pretty happy with my performance up until now. But now coming up to lap 22, and yeah, tiny droplets have started appearing on my screen. And I don't know if you have watched my previous videos, but yeah, I'm not really a fan of racing in the wet conditions. I'm just not confident enough, and I think at times I am a bit too tentative on the throttle or the steering input. So yeah, plus I always have the tendency to sort of accelerate rapidly out of a corner and lose the back end. But yeah, as I said, just the sort of that thought playing in my mind that there might be a wet race after this, and yeah, the purpose of showing you this clip was to sort of show you that how small the margins are. Just you have to have really great control of your mind, no matter where you are in the lead, how far in the lead you are. You just have to be really cautious of what you're doing. And only the thought that there might be a wet race and I might lose this race eventually sort of caused me to put the front right tire on that curb and have a spin. So as you can see, with the sizable chunk of the front wing missing, we are pretty much, we don't have the downforce that was required as we lap one of the IRC cars, as we lap, I think it's IRC 52AN, if I'm saying that correctly. But yeah, later in the race I found out that he was having problems with his internet. So yeah, sad for him. But now coming up to lap 24, I was sort of in a fix. I was not entirely sure when to pit but yeah, I think the best sort of strategy I had for myself was to sort of see when the other people go into the pits. As we see that war vortex has peeled into the pits, and at this point, my only objective was to sort of keep it clean and within the lines as we lap Lando Norris there. So yeah, coming up on lap 26, we decide to box on lap 26 for the intermediate tires, and yeah, I think we waited really long enough, and I think the logic behind doing that was to sort of ensure that my hopes for this Grand Slam were pretty much alive, because yeah, the people behind us had pit, and I knew that I had a decent gap, even if I were to have a long pit stop, and yeah, changing the front wing as well. So just before the pit stop itself, I decided that I want a little less aero than I had previously decided. So I put on 7 for the front wing, because I thought that I would be needing a lot of front end grip in these wet conditions. So we have sort of increased the downforce on the front wing itself, and yeah, I was really sort of happy to come out of the pits on lap 26 to see that my position in the lead was pretty much unchanged. But on lap 27, as we make our way into this third sector, you can see we're not trying anything too extraordinary again, as Freeman has left the session. So later in the race, I found out that he was having problems with his internet. So yeah, I think it's such a shame, because I think he was in the middle of a really good race, and yeah, I think he was I wouldn't say, I think if he had not had that crash out of the last corner on lap 1 itself, he would have been a real contender for the race win. But as you can see, the AI is sort of more committed than us in a straight line, but yeah, in that right corner with the high downforce front wing, we were pretty much faster. And yeah, on lap 34, you can see I've just sort of turned the engine down into lean and not really using any overtake mode at all. And yeah, my only objective right now was to keep it within the lines and just bring this car home. And yeah, I think at this point I realized that I had pretty much done what was needed to get this first Grand Slam in my very first social race of, yeah, pretty much my sim F1 career. But yeah, I think towards the end of lap 34, just again keeping it very simple with the driving, trying to hit every apex possible, and yeah, this you can see it really sort of trying to be really smooth on the throttle and brake application. But now we're on our way on this final lap of this race, and yeah, as you can see, sort of avoiding that curve on entry, because yeah, we've had some bad moments there. But yeah, first ever social race, and if you'd have told me that I would have a Grand Slam on this very first sort of social race of this league, yeah, I would pretty much have laughed it off. But yeah, I think this was a really special moment for me, and yeah, I think we did have a really sort of lucky race, so to speak, because I knew I had the pace, but everyone behind us also sort of had some or the other problem. But yeah, as you see, driver of the day is IRC52, and so yeah, I think he had a pretty decent race, starting from way behind and then coming up into third. So yeah, he pretty much deserved it. But yeah, that was pretty much the race around Zandvoort, and yeah, I hope you like this race, and do let me know in the comment section down below if there's any feedback you have for me for the driving. As for the season itself that's going to come, I think I'm pretty hopeful that I would be decent around the different tracks. But for now, yeah, do let me know if you have any comments, and also check out the other content on this channel if I think if it interests you. And yeah, until the next video, until the next time, just stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next one.